This is a bandsaw from the 1940s. Let's go service it. So the first time I went to plug this machine in, it didn't run. And not because of this. But, I opened this up and decided that I should probably fix this before I get it running. So first I'm trying to take this back side of the motor off. And I honestly don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going for it. And I realized that what I'm trying to do is not going to work. So I just need to pull the motor. So that's what I'm going to do here. When I first plugged this machine in, somebody had tried to do a single phase conversion, and this is a 3-phase machine. And so it actually just wouldn't run at all. This motor is actually pretty heavy, as you can tell by the way I scoot away. So I discovered that when I was trying to take that back part off, that there are basically just through bolts. So that's why I pulled the whole entire motor. I had those 4 bolts there. And now I'm removing this fan. It was at about this time that I actually ended up reaching out to my friend Eric, because he's got a lot more experience with machinery, and asked him if what I was doing was a bad idea, because I was just assuming I could go in and actually remove and totally replace these motors, not understanding that they are totally hardwired into the winding of the motor. So at about this time, I had just finished speaking with Eric, and I noticed the motor wasn't spinning smoothly anymore, and then it ended up just coming out. And so I just ended up pulling it out, and then I realized how it was designed. And it was kind of nice to look inside it and see that, it's in pretty nice condition. And you'll be able to see how the wires are hardwired in right there. And they're braided, and they look pretty nice, honestly. So it's just the other stuff is all rotted. And at this point, I took a break and I ran into town and got this liquid wire, and also some of the shrink stuff. I thought this would be a good idea at first, but it was kind of arduous and messy. And I just decided that it would probably be best to wrap it. So I kind of gave up on this stuff here pretty quick. You can actually see there are little tiny brass collars on each wire, and they have a number. So when I go and cover all of that stuff up, I track all those wires too. And I'm just crossing my fingers and hoping that whoever worked on this motor before did have it wired up correctly. So you can There's 9 wires there, and one of them was just capped, and the other 3 go to the starter. I also find it interesting how the metal in the wires is in very good condition, but the casings on the wires are totally rotted and dried and cracked. So it's just something that I noticed that I think is kind of cool. Alright, now that that's all done, it's time to put the motor back together. And I'm actually glad I did take this apart. It's just it was a good learning experience. I get to kind of see how the motor was designed and built. And it just gives me more confidence in this piece of machinery. And the quality of it as well. And while we're here in this shot, you can see that there are 2 electrical boxes. And the left electrical box is some weird capacitor setup that the previous owner had done. And it kind of looks like a battery. It was, losing its guts, kind of like a old battery does. And so that I'm totally bypassing that. I'll probably end up absolutely removing it. So this is another point where I had to refer to my buddy Eric to help me work through this. I've worked on something else on another machine like this, but it had been a while and I really didn't know what I was doing. And there is a wiring diagram, but it was really nice having his help. So I removed the extension cord that they had and the wires that went over to that other box. This is the new 3-phase power cord that I'm running straight in, so I put it through the bottom. So now those are going to all 3 hots. And that clicking is those contacts. So Eric said to find these contacts, see how they're all burnt. They need to be cleaned up. And there was another part that had corrosion on it that was part of the on and off system. See, so I end up shining these all up. I actually don't know if I show the after of it. But I just scrapped, yeah, that one's cleaned up nicely. See how that moves up? There's a magnetic switch on the other side that I'll clean up in just a moment here. The motor was running backwards as well, so I flipped those, the red and the green, red and white around. So this is the contact seal. Those have some corrosion, so I need to clean that up. And on this back side right there where it touches, and I actually forget what he called it, so there it is, cleaned up. And I got down in there too with some sandpaper and just cleaned that up as well. And that totally got rid of that buzzing sound. So at this point, I actually thought that something was still wrong with the motor. And so I ended up doing more troubleshooting, but I was not used to a motor sounding like this. And it didn't have a load on it at that time too, and so it just sounded very different. And Eric made a good point that I'm used to whiny Chinese motors, so we decided it was time to just start it up and give it a try. And on top of that, this motor is 1100 RPMs, so it's pretty low RPM. So look, it's very different with the flywheel basically and the load on it. It was way faster sounding than I anticipated. So at this point, it feels done. I'm really happy with it. So it's time to get a blade on this and kind of wrap this machine up and give it a cut. So I'm pretty happy with the way this machine cut. That grinding sound is 2 bearings on the lower guide that are all sticky. So that'll be in another video. I'll service those and I want to go over this machine as well. There's a lot of cool old details about it. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.